All of us said welcome back. Hopefully you're with us every day. So welcome back to the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton here with Chad Silver and Lauren Coleman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for watching us on News 2 Fire Stick Roku, and we're also on the News 2 app.
And we're going to get an update on the forecast in a little bit to find out when this rain will maybe clear the area forever. But first, we got a couple of big stories we're following today. First, Winston-Salem Police are asking for your help figuring out who shot and killed a 12-year-old girl on Sunday. Today, police released her name. Enemy Morales died in the shooting. A 24-year-old man was wounded. Police say 25 to 30 people were at a park on South Dale Avenue when a fight led to a shooting. Since then, detectives have had a hard time figuring out what happened. They say people who live in the area or were at the park are not helping. They're hoping someone will leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers.
Winston-Salem Police are not only investigating the shooting that killed the 6th grade girl, but they are investigating 6 shootings. They all happened in about a 60-hour span. Just a couple miles away from the park, fight and shooting. Another shooting caused a car to crash into a house. 4 people were in the car. A 17-year-old and a 20-year-old woman were among those injured. They are expected to recover. A 3-month-old baby in the car was unharmed. A 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, another juvenile, are among those injured in shootings over the weekend. The assistant city manager says it's disheartening to see this many shootings so early in the new year.
Even one shooting or death, it is troubling to us as a city. You know, our numbers last year were reduced in terms of gun violence and homicides. And so while we celebrate that, we still have so much work to do in terms of crime prevention.
When it comes to youth violence, the city has several programs already in place, but the assistant city manager hopes a new police chief, along with some law enforcement solutions, will make a difference.
A Greensboro woman who's been in prison for killing 4 people near UNC Greensboro could be getting a second chance. There was a parole hearing today for Janet Danahay. You'll remember the former UNCG student has been in prison for the last 20 years for setting a fire at the Campus Walk apartments in 2002. In the hearing over the phone today, several witnesses presented testimony on Danahay's behalf. Among them were her sister and the father of one of the victims. Parole Commissioner Graham Atkinson heard the testimonies today. He'll now take them back to the other commissioners for a vote. If Danahay gets 2 of the 4 votes in favor of her parole, the commission will determine the conditions of her release. Mebane Police Chief Terry Caldwell revealed last night that he's retiring in July. The city is now taking public comment on the next chief. They've set up a public survey and will take comments at a meeting later this month.
An update to a story we first told you about last month. Alternative Resources at the Triad, the group who puts on the Greensboro Pride Festival, was able to get nearly half of their money back after a PayPal scam. Scammers were able to get into their PayPal account and take $40,000 from linked back accounts. Oftentimes in these cases, money is not recovered, so the organization says they are grateful some was returned. They are still hosting community fundraisers to make sure they have enough funds to put on events like the Pride Festival. In the meantime, security experts had this warning to make sure you don't fall victim to scams.
Scammers are very adept at making their emails look like they come from a source that you would respect. It could be PayPal, it could be your bank. Just like people know that if you get a call on your phone and it looks like it's coming from the FBI or the IRS, chances are that it's not.
Since getting scammed, Alternative Resources of the Triad says they reset all their accounts, switched passwords, and set up auto transfers to new bank accounts so money is not lingering in their PayPal account.
Well, we saw the rain starting to push through this morning, really kind of lingering even into right now. I'm not seeing it right here in the weather garden, but some of you still getting a couple of showers here or there. You look at the numbers, and we're in the upper 40s to low 50s. In fact, from about 47 to 50 for a range of temperatures. You have to go all the way south, closer to, say, Troy and that neck of the woods to see a 50 or 51. But these temperatures not going to drop all that much tonight because we have the cloud cover. But as we head into the morning hours, I think we'll see some fog. So as these temperatures drop, our dew points are such that we can see that fog develop. Just, I would say, allow yourself maybe a few extra minutes in the morning, leave a little earlier than normal. Not a huge amount, but maybe even 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure that you'll be okay. So we'll go with mostly cloudy skies. That low tonight, 44 degrees again, not a huge drop in temperatures, but It's milder tomorrow. That fog in the morning could be a big issue for you, so make sure you think about that before you head out. 61, that's way above our normal, which should be in the upper 40s this time of the year. Winds are pretty much out of the southwest at 5 to 10, so not all that much of a problem. Rain right now, the majority of it, exiting to the east. We'll still see it in southern Guilford County, northern Randolph, but all of this, and Alamance too. But all of that is pushing out, slow going, but we're getting it out of here as we head into the overnight hours and really into the next couple of hours, we think. Warmer conditions, it's mild ahead of the next front. Winds tend to parallel the front, so we'll see them continue out of the southwest as this first front approaches, and that'll keep us in those low 60s for Wednesday and mid 60s for Thursday. Now that front will move by once that goes through with a little extra rain on Thursday, even though it's only a 30% chance. We'll see a cooler and clearer couple of days for Friday and Saturday. I want you to take a look. Here's a whole ball of wax for you. So variably cloudy on your Wednesday, morning fog, then clearing gradually, 61. 66 with maybe a late day shower on Thursday. Again, that's only a 30% chance. Friday's nice, 55, partly cloudy. Saturday not bad either, a few extra clouds and 51, but we've got some rain coming in. It will be a cool, rainy day on Sunday. 60% chance of showers, highs only in the mid 40s, and we'll bounce back a little bit next week. Sunny to partly cloudy. That's for Monday, Tuesday. Those temperatures closer to where we should be. Highs in the low 50s and overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s.
A Greensboro-based company is on a mission to provide athletic equipment to more underfunded public schools in the Triad. Beyond Sports NC currently serves 12 schools throughout Guilford County by donating recess bags to schools in need of sports equipment such as basketballs, footballs, soccer balls, and dodgeballs. This spring, Beyond Sports will be working with students at Kimberly Park Elementary School as the company's first foray into Forsyth County.
Really amazing to see the community support that we've got when we started here in Greensboro, and just, you know, now raising awareness and getting people to understand the inequities that run through the school system, and the differences that, you know, a Title I school may face versus a non-Title I school, and the challenges that come with that.
In addition to providing sports equipment, the company also operates sports clinics to promote physical activity. The co-founders say sports and physical activity can have a positive impact on a student's academic performance.
We bring out college students as our volunteers. And so to give kids these mentors and these role models that are not that much older than them, that either are playing sports or just in school, but they come out and they play with them, and it's just really, it's an awesome connection between working hard in the playing field and also working hard in the classroom.
Now, the founders also say students who are engaged in sports are less likely to get involved in alcohol and drugs and live a healthier lifestyle. Now, this isn't the first time we've talked about Beyond Sports on our show. Great organization, but it's so nice to see what they're doing expand into other counties, because there's so many kids that can benefit from some of these resources. I think the biggest thing I take out of this is just investing in the children, making them feel happy, making them feel proud that somebody is investing in them.
It's funny, the first time I interviewed Mike with Beyond Sports, he said, did you know that there are lots of schools that don't even have kickballs?
Yeah.
And I said, you're kidding. Like, I just didn't think that was possible. That He goes, yeah, basketballs, kickballs, simple as just taking donations from companies that will say, you know, hey, here's $1,000, buy as many of those, that equipment as you can. So it's that simple, but they also have ties with Ricky Prohl and Prolific Park, and they bring in some real names, and these kids are really impressed with, they can talk to really some of the stars.
One of the other things I got out of it was when he was kind of breaking down the differences with the Title I versus, you know, a non-Title I school. He's saying there could be 25 different kids trying out for the football team, but you only have 10 jerseys. And I just think, what does that do for somebody's self-esteem? Like, am I not worth it? So the fact that they're pouring into these children, I think is just beautiful.
It's incredible how far a simple basketball or like a baseball and a mitt can go. I mean, just giving kids something to do. I mean, oftentimes when you hear about, you know, kids committing crimes, I mean, these communities where this happens, they're trying to make sure that they're giving kids things to do after school, and just kind of being there for them if they want to, you know, play a team sport, or I mean, just like build the basics of life that can make you successful.
Discipline, determination, teamwork, all those great things that that come with sports. Well, physical activity, as we have said, can be great for all of us. So I asked you on my Facebook page, what was your favorite school PE activity? We got hundreds of comments on this one. Janet Duggan says, we played kickball. It was my favorite, then basketball. David Williams, football and softball, couldn't wait to get out there and participate. Cindy Ramey, square dancing, LOL, can you believe it was gym class? We did a little bit of dancing when I was in school too, Cindy. And then Lamont J wrote, elementary, Red Rover, middle, Foursquare, high, ultimate frisbee, and then D Joyce, dodgeball. I loved all of those.
So many good things. Do you remember, it was, I don't even know what it was called, but it was like a parachute game.
Yes.
Yes.
It is like the size of the gym, basically.
Bring it,
You throw it up, and then you have
like
to
hide behind it.
Yeah.
Or like you pull it down behind you. And it's just like makes this air pocket inside, and you run from side to side.
And you thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Absolutely.
Christian Morgan and Hunter Funk wrote on my page saying the parachute game was one of their favorites that they remembered
So
too.
I love dodgeball. Red Rover was really big. Well, I think about that now, they probably wouldn't let kids do that now because it's too like.
It's kind of dangerous.
Now, when I was in high school, I can say this now because they don't do this anymore. We played a game, we called it, I'm not kidding, we called it blood ball. It was dodgeball, but with older kids. But every time the coach would blow the whistle, the lines would get closer and closer until
Oh my goodness. I think I remember that.
It was so much fun, unless you're the last guy left standing.
Right.
Or unless you get hit in the head with the
that
dodgeball,
happened.
which
That
has happened to
happened
me
too.
before. My favorite had to be tetherball. I loved tetherball growing up. I was so competitive at it. And then I liked a good old kickball game as well too. I loved PE. It was one of my favorite classes. I did a 2 cents last year about how physical activity and recess can actually be beneficial in the workplace, and how studies have been done that people did like recess games at work and productivity increased. So maybe that's something that we can bring here.
Game.
I also liked, we had in middle school, they would bring in like roller skates for like a week.
Ooh,
Yeah, we did that
You
too.
just like roller skate around the gym. Half people broke their ankles.
Right,
and stuff,
I know. That's back when you could do that.
The one thing I didn't like in gym class was the presidential physical fitness.
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, and you try to get the badges. I remember I
badge.
got the badge one time, but it was that mile. It was that miles that always prevented me from getting the blue badge.
You see, we remember all that. That shows you
Absolutely,
how important it is. All right, we're going to take a break. We're coming back. I love it. I love it. It's time for our 4 to 5 face-off. This time we're doing Science Edition. Lauren, that's your old haircut too.
Yeah, it's my old haircut.
Update,
I've switched it up a little bit.
Okay, so today I went and there's easy science questions and then it progresses to harder, and we'll see how far we get. We're not going to keep score, but I do want you guys to ring in, and we'll see how many of these we can get. Some of these they said are like middle school science, and then some get tough.
So I won't know any of them.
I know, right?
And we're not giving a score. So let's give a score. All right, here we go.
Taking
we'll see
the
at
SAT
home.
all over again.
At home, you try it too. All right,
100 people surveyed. Just
That's right. The top 5 answers are on the board. The concept of gravity was discovered by what physicist? Lauren.
Who is Isaac Newton?
Oh, correct. Oh, you're like
Nice.
Jeopardy on me. Who is
I
Isaac
know,
Newton?
you said it. Wow.
That's very good. Very good. All right. How many colors in the rainbow? Whoa, Lauren.
7.
7 is correct.
Dang,
She's on a
yeah.
roll.
Red, orange.
Where'd you biv?
Blue.
What'd you bid?
Right?
I'll take rainbows for 300, Eric. All right, trivia question, true or false? Electrons are smaller than atoms. Lauren.
False.
No, true.
True, okay.
Electrons are
I would have
smaller.
guessed.
All right, this one's cool. What is the name of the tallest grass on Earth? And both of you know what it is. Chad, with a soft ring.
It was just sawgrass.
I thought you were going to say it though. Not correct. You want to try to steal, Lauren? You don't think of this as grass, but it is.
It's green.
No. When it's not cured, it is. When it's like new, but it turns yellow later.
Weeds.
I'll tell you real quick.
seagrass?
Bamboo is
Oh,
is actually
okay.
classified.
I was like
as-
mulch. Like what are we
Interesting.
what are we getting into?
I know.
Okay.
All right, which is the most abundant element in the universe? Lauren.
Oxygen.
Chad.
Water.
No.
Hydrogen.
Yes, correct. There, Chad's on the board.
Okay.
What is the hardest natural substance on our planet? Chad.
Iron.
No. Lauren.
Copper.
No. You want another guess?
I don't know.
It's clear.
Water.
Diamond. A diamond is the hardest natural. Okay. How much time, Fran?
90.
Tell me. 90. Okay. Does sound? This one I had to go look up. Does sound travel faster in the air or on water?
In the air.
No, it's water, and that threw me off.
On water.
I did the same thing. It's like in the water.
Got it.
Which oath of ethics is taken by doctors and named after an ancient Greek physician? So it's the oath that a doctor would have to take.
No idea.
You don't remember this one? All right, let's go. The Hippocratic Oath is that one.
Oh.
All right, these get a little bit
Okay.
tougher here. What does
Oh,
DNA
great.
stand for? Do you remember that one?
DNA.
All right. I'll give a little time up on that. You gonna try?
Nope.
Yeah? Okay. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Do diamonds last forever?
Yes. Yes.
The answer is no.
Oh.
Get this, they eventually degrade to graphite, but it takes billions of years. So we've never seen that they can degrade. It's pretty crazy. All right, we only have 30 seconds here. A material that cannot carry an electrical charge, if you think about it, is called a what? If we had our Kevin Lippert in here
Does it
right
start
now,
with a
he'd-
C?
Nope, starts with an I. I'll give you that much.
Insulator.
Yes, very good,
Okay.
Lauren. Nice.
Oh.
All right. Will there be an impact on your height if you go to outer space? Last question.
Yes.
Yes. Do you know if you'll be taller or shorter? Do you
You
remember?
will be shorter.
You'll be taller because you're no longer subjected to gravity.
Okay.
You guys, that was a nice job. Lauren is like the
Lauren, great job.
junior scientist.
Great job to
today.
you too, Chad.
Very nice. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Insulator.
Yeah, we have a few showers here and there, but they are slowly pulling out of the triad and heading on to the east. We've got a couple of rounds, though. You know, in our 7-day forecast, there are 2 or 3 days where it's just like every maybe 2 or 3 days, actually, it pops up with another shower, and then we get a break for a couple days and back in again. So those systems are just kind of riding along. Temperatures, though, for the most part, not bad. Upper 40s, 49 right now in the triad. We were warmer than that today, but that is where our high should be this time of the year. To the south, we're in the upper 50s if you head down toward Columbia, South Carolina, and a 50 in the mountains there around Boone. We've got some low 60s coast side. Hour by hour, not a lot of change for us. We'll go from the upper 40s where we are now to the mid 40s. That's about it. Big blanket of clouds over us, and that holds into the night. You may see a couple of breaks here and there, but the biggest story for us is the fact that we'll cool down a little bit, and we're so wet on the ground that we'll see some fog develop. So look for that. Fog, obviously, just clouds that develop at the surface. The biggest advice I can give you is tomorrow morning, use the low beams, extra space between you and the car in front of you, and you might want to leave about 10 minutes early just in case you run into those patches of fog, especially if you live out in the county and not in one of the urban areas. So look at this though, here's the rain and there it goes, bye-bye. Heading on to the east. For the most part, we still see a little bit in Guilford and Randolph counties. Montgomery County, you have one more area of showers getting ready to move through there, but you can see some breaks in the clouds back toward our foothills and the mountain communities already seeing that. That break in the cloud cover, if we get that overnight, that will allow those temperatures to drop quickly, and that's why we can see that fog develop. But a blanket of clouds at least for the next several hours for the most part across the triad. This rain stretches all the way back down to the south in the deep south, but that entire system will clear us tomorrow. Variably cloudy after the fog lifts in 61. 66 on Thursday, another little 30% chance of a shower. Cooler and clearer Friday and Saturday, 55 and 51, partly cloudy, but a rainy, cool Sunday with a high of 46.
Boy, they are really dealing with some issues in California. Check this out. A mudslide hit several homes in Berkeley as the West Coast deals with relentless rain. You could see the mud bursting through the glass windows, even the wall there, right into the house. No one was hurt because the homeowners actually evacuated before the mudslide hit. The rain is not over yet. They are preparing tomorrow for what's being called an atmospheric river. I mean, incredible to see that video.
Yeah, some people call that the Pineapple Express too. There are names for that, but basically it's like an air current coming from Hawaii area and that part of the Pacific that just brings in one system after the other. The low pressure just kind of ride along it like a roller coaster on a track, and they just get wave after wave of rain and rain and rain.
Very scary. I watched the full interview of this story, and the homeowners actually said they just got done remodeling their home.
Oh my gosh.
So imagine going through that, and they were like, we'll just have to start all over again, but just glad that they were safe. But man, that's gotta hurt.
And it's not over yet.
No, we do see a break, I think, within the next 5 days, so, but still
Okay.
some other
All
mess
right,
coming.
thinking
yeah.
about them.
All right, we'll be back.
Golly. Brad, can you hear me, man? You can hear me? We're good? We sound good? Mic check, Bradley. Bald Eagle.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Eric Chilton here with Chad Silver and Lauren Coleman. I had a buddy of mine send me a text a few minutes ago. He said I was nailing your trivia questions today.
Was he talking any smack about me?
No.
Not nailing
What
the
did he
trivia
say
questions.
about me?
All he said was he was getting them right.
Okay. Well, he would have
You did
beat
a
both
great
of
job.
us.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Thanks for watching us on News 2 Fire Stick Roku, and we're also on the News 2 app, so you can log in and watch us there.
Coming up this half hour, kind of a controversial conversation about MSG, you know that seasoning that
Yeah.
Yep.
isn't in anything anymore? Well, it might be making a comeback.
That sounds odd, doesn't it?
does.
There's lots of controversy.
It's coming up this half hour.
All right, let's talk about this though. We're going back to May of 2019 when 15-year-old Malik Ramirez, a then Page High School student, lost his life in a drowning incident at Buffalo Lake. That happened right here in Greensboro. So shortly after his passing, you may remember this, his school started up a Learn to Swim program to keep his legacy alive and present another tragedy like this from taking place. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey has more on this.
Yeah, Eric, knowing how to swim is looked at as a luxury by a lot of people, but it's truly a skill that can save your life or someone else's. For the first time since 2020, Page High School and the Greensboro Aquatic Center have partnered up once again for the 2023 Malik Ramirez Learn to Swim program.
Yes, it does. It's bittersweet, you know, because it's a good thing that they're doing it, but I still miss them.
After a 2-year pause, the Malik Ramirez Learn to Swim program is back at the Greensboro Aquatic Center. And his mother, Barbara, is glad to see the kids back in the pool.
Well, actually, it's a good program because they don't have swimming in school no more, so it's a good thing that they're doing it now.
For the next 2 weeks, Page High School students of all ages will dive in head first with a common goal in mind, learning a life-saving skill.
Well, the instructor, like when I went underwater, she helped me relax my body. But the instructor was very nice. Like, she was very patient.
Eric Negley is the principal over at Page High School and one of the founders of this program. He was at the Aquatic Center today as a fresh batch of students take on a new classroom setting.
Knowing that they're going to be able to obtain such an important life skill that will save them or save someone in the future is just really exciting.
And Malik's mother, Barbara, she also shared that she started a grief group for mothers who've lost children. And next week, she, the ladies, and Principal Negley will all be participating in next week's swim class.
I can't imagine losing a child to a drowning, but I would imagine that helping spur this and year after year knowing that you were potentially saving countless children's lives by helping them learn to swim has just got to be a little bit of some closure or maybe just some peace.
Yeah, like Miss Barbara said, it's very bittersweet for her. Yes, does it pain her to, think about her son and the way his life was cut tragically short, but it brings her joy to see that, these other kids picking up this life skill and hopefully preventing it from happening.
I love that they're doing this. I almost feel like it should be mandatory in all schools because it's a skill a lot of people unfortunately haven't learned. I know I've spoke about myself with swimming on the 4 to 5. I took lessons when I was 3, but I cried and kicked and screamed, so I didn't finish. And that's something I wish that I would have done because it is a life-saving skill. And I feel like if it's forced upon you, then you'll definitely learn it.
Absolutely. Well, and you can say, oh, well, I'm just not going to get near the water. You will be close to the water at some point in your life, and something can happen. I didn't either. I never had swim lessons. I had to teach myself in like an apartment complex pool that was near our house, and I would just go in there and sneak in and just practice myself. But it's so important. We got our kids all swim. You got to do it.
I hated taking swim lessons.
I
don't know what it was about it, but I just really didn't like it. Maybe it was because it was Wisconsin and we were in a lake. But,
oh my
it was
God.
really cold. But I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah.
It is one of those skills, like you said, Lauren. Everybody needs to know how to do it.
You're absolutely right, Chad. I'm right there with you. I took swimming lessons. My parents started me when I was very, very young, probably before I started playing any other sport. And then actually when I was in high school and college, that's what I would use as my cardio. But just knowing that I have that comfort in that water is something that I didn't take, I took for granted for a good amount of time because I didn't know it was irregular. But
even
now
just
to find
treading
out,
water, just knowing how to tread water.
Because that fear is a big thing and panic and, can cause some unfortunate situations to happen.
Great story, Joan. Thanks. Thank you. All right, let's get to some local events to know about. First up, the city of Greensboro is playing catch up in the annual loose leaf collection effort. This year, city leaders say lots of leaves fell in the first few weeks of the season, slowing the collection process. The city has collected more than 7,600 tons of leaves, nearly 2/3 more than last year. The city asks that you rake the leaves to the edge of your yard, not in the street, and remove sticks and rocks.
Talk about a fun lesson. The Greensboro History Museum is hosting a Triad beer history event tonight. They will have local beer historians ready to talk about the Triad's brewing industry. And then after that, you can test your listening skills with a round of trivia. This event is at Odin Brewing Company from 6 to 8. This month, High Point Library is launching Sensory Storytime. It is filled with crafts, songs, stories, and other activities designed to support those who are neurodivergent. High Point Children's Library Division came up with this certified autism center last year. think that this is a great resource for families that are looking for something to do with their children if they do have some additional needs. You know, kids love to play. They like to have a good time, but unfortunately, some kids, they need different resources in order to participate in that. So I'm glad that there is a center making it more inclusive for other children.
And you know, you have to do this because the spectrum of autism is huge. So what affects one kid that has autism does not affect the other, vice versa.
Yeah.
You need a diverse curriculum to make sure that you can reach out to all those kids.
Speaking of curriculum, a beer history?
I
At
know.
the science,
At
the History Museum.
Yeah.
Right.
Odin Brewing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, I would love to learn about beer. I mean, even if you don't drink it, I mean, I think it's just fascinating to hear about how it's evolved over time.
And how it continues to change. Because
Right.
nowadays with the microbreweries, you can get all kinds of crazy flavors and
Yeah.
things that I'm sure the first guys that started doing this never had a clue it'd go this way.
And there's so many breweries throughout North Carolina. You know,
yeah.
when you go and travel to the mountains or even to the beach area, there's always a brewery you can check out.
Asheville's been called the beer capital of the country, so.
Yeah, and I think there are
Check it
probably a couple days this week when if you wanted to have a beer outside, it wouldn't be bad, huh?
Yeah.
Temperatures are good in the short term. Let's talk about that because we do have rain that's over across the Triad now, but it is exiting, and yeah, Chad's right, we'll be way above normal for a couple of days at least, especially tomorrow and the day after. What is normal this time of the year? Upper 40s, believe it or not. Actually, where we are right now, Greensboro, Winston-Salem at 49. That is our normal high. We're 50 in High Point, 48 Asheboro. If you head back to the west, Mount Airy's at 47, Wilkesboro at 50, Statesville in the upper 40s as well. Mid 40s tonight, so we don't change very much, right? We go from 49 to 44. That's it for our overnight low. Mostly cloudy, but fog will develop overnight, and really the bigger story with that is your commute tomorrow morning. And you know the rules with fog, do not turn on the high beam. So low beams, if you have fog running lights, those are great. And then leave some extra space between you and the car in front of you if you can even see them. That's the problem. This fog could be so thick tomorrow that you may not be able to see much more than a quarter of a mile or less in front of you. So it could be very thick. It will burn off, but high temperatures tomorrow are up to 61, and that's a good bit above our normal of 49. Most of the rain leaving pretty quickly right now. Actually, one little batch still around Troy and Star and Biscoe area, and also in southern parts of Alamance County. But for the majority of the rain, it is already moving toward the Sandhills and the coastal plain. So that'll continue to push away. We may see some breaks in the clouds in the overnight hours, but remember, ahead of a cold front, winds parallel the front, meaning that they'll come in out of the southwest ahead of this next system. So that taps into a southerly flow. That's a warmer airflow, of course, and that's why we see those low 60s tomorrow. And I think we'll get mid 60s for Wednesday too. We've got another rain chance Thursday. You can see this system. This is Wednesday at 5:30, but then this second cold front gets closer to us, and we've got a chance of showers on your Thursday as well. That's about a 30% chance. Still warm then, but on the backside of that front, that's when the cold air moves in. So if we skip ahead, that slight chance, that rain chance Thursday, it's a 30%. Then Friday and Saturday, we are clearer and cooler at 55 degrees for Friday with sunshine, partly cloudy Saturday, 51, a rainy, cool Sunday with 46. And next week, back to normal, low 50s and partly cloudy skies.
Traveling across the pond just got a little easier. American Airlines is adding a third daily nonstop flight from Charlotte to London. The additional flight will take off in April and run through the summer, with travel experts saying they expect more people to travel overseas. This is the fourth direct flight from North Carolina to the UK. 3 out of Charlotte, 1 out of Raleigh. On average, each flight is about 7 hours and 40 minutes, and expect that time to be cut in half when Boom Supersonic gets those planes in the air.
That's going to be nice.
Which I think is like 6 years from now, but still, I can't wait for that. Yeah, someone said you might be able to go to LA in about 2.5 hours.
I would love that. I would love that, because anything past 3 hours on a plane, you know, your neck is hurting, your back is hurting. This is going to be really nice.
I just can't even imagine a direct flight to a different country, considering it takes me 3 flights to get home to Wisconsin.
I know.
I feel you.
Which is within
An
the United
all-day
States.
affair.
Right, and you can get to most places on the planet in 3 flights.
So how long? So let's say you go to Charlotte, which is an hour and 40 for us, right, to drive down there, and then it's a 7 hour, so it's 8 or 9 hours. What's your total time to get to Wisconsin from here to there?
So when I went home for Christmas, it took me 12 hours.
Oh my goodness.
So it's less time to go to London.
I've decided that if you know, I would be almost round trip back from London in the same amount of time it takes me to get to Wisconsin.
So how far is it? How long does it take you to drive? If you were to drive from Greensboro to Wisconsin?
It's about 21 hours.
Oh, okay. So then the 13 hours is still better.
Yeah, you'll take the flights.
Right, yeah. But
3 flights, right, in order to get there?
3 flights, yeah.
Woo.
Right, yes.
I hope you
wild.
have some nice books with you.
I always have things downloaded on the tablet.
Okay.
Is the last flight like a 4-seater Cessna?
Yes,
No,
And
don't.
you have to run while it's like Flintstones.
It's like feet coming up the bottom. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
A controversial culinary ingredient might be making a comeback. MSG. Once widely used, the seasoning was shunned over perceived health concerns and social stigma. But recent research shows the flavor booster is safe to eat.
At this Arlington, Virginia takeout restaurant, Lucky Danger, Chef Tim Ma's secret ingredient isn't really a secret.
MSG, it's very little.
It's a seasoning with a controversial history. Many Americans grew up hearing it's unhealthy or even dangerous to consume. But now some, like Ma, are challenging that idea.
I will say, I think every dish has it in there. We actually sit it here on the wok station because it is the last component of every dish that goes out.
Chef and author J. Kenji Lopez-Alt says the safety of MSG, or monosodium glutamate, first came into question in 1968 when a doctor wrote a letter to the New England Journal of Medicine titled Chinese Restaurant Syndrome.
This wasn't a published study. There was a letter written to the journal by a doctor saying, hey, I've noticed when I go to Chinese restaurants and eat MSG-rich foods, I get these certain symptoms.
After others reported similar symptoms, an MSG backlash began.
The whole idea has some racist undertones as well.
Some people still claim to experience symptoms such as headaches or drowsiness after eating foods containing MSG. But recent scientific research shows that when consumed in moderation, MSG is harmless. While MSG is often associated with Asian cuisine, it's long been an ingredient in American foods, from Campbell's soups and Heinz ketchup to KFC and Chick-fil-A.
You never hear somebody say, I have Doritos syndrome or KFC syndrome.
You don't hear about it as like a specific term the way Chinese restaurant syndrome is.
The ingredient is now seeing a comeback. even in some unusual ways.
All right, so this first one's just going to be a regular.
Lopez Alt showed us how MSG can be used in cocktails. He set up this taste test.
Oh, this is different. I'm going to guess that this is the one with MSG in it.
Correct.
I get that savory flavor you were talking about.
Back at Lucky Danger, Ma's slogan is American Chinese by a Chinese American.
Some people would say it might just be easier for you to avoid the whole thing and not use MSG.
But then the food won't be as good. It's a very necessary ingredient for us.
Here's something also that's interesting. MSG triggers our fifth taste, umami, which is that savory or meatiness quality.
So we're not scientists. Let's go ahead and just say
Yes.
that right now. I'm not sure.
Clearly from our
science
trivia
quiz.
earlier.
But that list of things that MSG could cause, see, I was thinking like it's going to be cancer or something.
Right.
But if it's just like some sweatiness or palpitations,
I
like,
get that after I eat every meal.
sometimes, yes. I could, and I love Asian food.
Me too. I love it. I just had some sweet and sour chicken the other couple weeks ago. But I think if you know yourself and you know if you eat certain foods, you know, to just stay away from them or take them in doses.
And how funny that they're adding it to like cocktails.
Yeah, I know.
To have a meaty like
Savory taste. I do love savory over sweet though. So
It would probably good in like a Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Savory kind of thing. I first of all, I've never heard of that, putting it in a cocktail. And you know, I like the cocktail stuff, and I'd never heard of that. But someone did tell me once that now they will wash liquor. It's called washing a bourbon. And they take it and they put animal fat. This is crazy. They heat it, they mix it all up, then they freeze it. The fat comes to the top, they take it off, and then they let the bourbon go back to its regular state, and it gives a savory, like this MSG thing. It's called washing bourbons or washing alcohol. It's crazy.
Same kind of tried it. How was it?
I did try it at New Orleans when I went there.
Is that where you learned this?
Yes, I learned this
okay.
from the bartender, and I said, "What does that do?" He goes, "It adds a richness," and it did. It made it more like a savory, I won't say meal, but feeling, taste to it.
It would pair well with whatever you're eating.
With a heavier food.
Okay.
Really.
Cool.
So
cool.
you're gonna see like MSG rims on martinis.
It's horrible.
That just sounds weird.
Going down a bad track. We'll be right back. So the big weather story for us would be tomorrow morning, and that's the fact that this fog could be less than a quarter of a mile visibility, could slow you down a bit. So our advice to everybody, if you have to be anywhere on time tomorrow, and most of us do, you want to leave about 10 minutes earlier than you normally do in case you run into that. Use the low beams, extra distance between you and the car in front of you, and you should be fine. But that fog could be very thick, especially in rural areas. So you know if it happens where you live a lot, you'll know you'll have some of that tomorrow, it looks like. Temperatures, upper 40s to right at 50. You have to head south. You go to Pinehurst, they're at 52. Troy, 51. That's the warm spot on the map. Everybody else mostly in the mid to upper 40s, let's say. And we don't change very much. So we go from 49 in Greensboro, expected to drop down to 44 for tonight. Mostly cloudy skies. The fog can develop late night tonight, too. So if you have to travel late, that could be an issue. But the bigger story would be the morning commute, really, the worst time of the day. But that's when we'll see it. 61, the high temperature for tomorrow. Clouds will break apart a little bit, we think, second half of the day. But we see this right now, most of the rain moving on to the east. We'll go out to a wider shot. It's all headed to the coast. The next session, and we just have like one front after another, right, rolling by. So this next one will be here probably Thursday. But if you look at this is Wednesday at about 5:30. So we're going to see temperatures. We think Wednesday highs could go up to 66. Very warm for us. Our normal high is 49 degrees. So we're about 17 degrees above normal for the middle of the week there. As you head into Thursday, though, there's that rain chance. It's a 30% chance. We've got clearer skies on Friday and a little bit cooler there, 55 for the high. 51 Saturday, a few extra clouds. Sunday's kind of a yucky day. Stay inside and you watch football that day. 46 degrees with rain, and then next week clearing out. Sunshine and temperatures close to where we should be, 50 and 53 for Monday and Tuesday.
Two iconic North Carolina staples are teaming up for a new beverage. Bojangles and Appalachian Mountain Brewery collaborated to come up with Bojangles Hard Sweet Tea. The brewery was founded in Boone back in 2013. The owners say they've always been fans of North Carolina's iconic chain and reached out to Bojangles about the idea. You won't be able to buy the hard tea at Bojangles restaurants, but it's expected to be in stores across North Carolina later this spring.
That's interesting.
It does sound interesting.
I'm sure it's good.
As popular as their sweet tea is, I think this is going to be a big hit. I can't imagine it being bad.
Absolutely, and a good thing we know it's going to be sold everywhere. But I was wondering, are they going to sell this at the restaurant, and then we clarified that it wouldn't be sold there?
Yeah, they have to like have the, I don't know, liquor license
and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah.
I just see this like at outdoor festivals. You know, can't you just see them? So people had put out big ice bins with like, you know, there's like what's the Bud Lime, the ones with lime, like it's like Budweiser, Bud Light Lime, and then Bud Light, and then you'll have sweet tea or hard tea.
Are you guys fans of the hard drinks, like hard teas, hard lemonade, hard seltzers? Are you more into like a wine or, you know?
I'm okay with a hard seltzer. Something like this, I could probably only have one of them.
Yeah.
A lot of sugar.
It depends on how sweet it is, I think. But because the seltzers and stuff, I think, work really well in hot weather because they're not so sweet. But again, it's the bubbles too that sometimes you're always like, oh, my stomach.
I'm kind of surprised that they haven't come up with like a hard cheer wine.
Oh, that's a good idea. You might want to pitch that.
Work on that. They do have recipes on the Cheerwine website. If you Google it, they do bourbon and Cheerwine drinks because they do like a contest. Cheerwine does, and people come up with different kind of cocktails. It's pretty cool.
That sounds good. I could think of like a Cheerwine margarita or something. That would
that cherry flavor.
That would be really good.
I wonder if they
Let's
have that
go.
on there.
I'll bet you they do. I'll bet you they do. Now I'm going to go look it up. That's what's going to happen. We're going to take a break. We're coming right back.
Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay. Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South.
Hello, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What do you think?
Tonight we are learning more about the 12-year-old girl who died in a shooting at a Winston-Salem park over the weekend.
Police say Inedy Penaloza Morales was at the park when she was shot. WFMY News 2's Hannah Jeffrey spoke with police who are desperate for the community to come forward with information.
Police tell me they are trying to solve this case, but are having a hard time getting information. That's because people who were at the park during the fight and people who live in the area are not speaking to them or releasing footage. They're calling for a partnership as they try to find answers for the Penaloza Morales family. Officers say the shooting happened here at Weston Park Sunday afternoon. They say around 30 people, some kids, some adults, were at the park when a fight happened. During the fight, shots were fired. Police believe more than one person was shooting. A 24-year-old was hurt in the shooting and a 6th grader died. This case hits home for Captain Amy Galden, who has 2 kids of her own.
I have a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old that go to school. You don't know where nor when this is going to happen. And that's too much. It's just not acceptable for our community.
Galden says detectives are working to get more information, but they can't do it alone. They are desperate for people who were in the area during the fight to speak up. That information could help find those responsible for this shooting.
The biggest thing that we're relying on is going out to those folks in the community who may know something, who may have a child who was there, anything, or these kids at school. We want to protect everybody, and these kids are they're our future. We have to protect them.
Penaloza Morales was a student at Philo High Middle School. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools released a